a hell of a warm-up. Nice. Well, I don't have the kind of eloquent remarks that Tom has, but then I don't have any crib notes here. I figure this is a place where I can speak from the heart because, you know, I feel like I'm one of you guys. I make movies because I love movies, because I'm a fan of fantasy and science fiction and other worlds. And so, of course, it's a great privilege to get to unveil this film that I've been working on this sucker for 4 years now. As Tom said, in the 14 years in the dreaming. So, you know, I know that a lot of you have, you know, been in line a long time, out in the sun, some of you overnight, to see this. I just want you to know that it's as much a privilege for me to be here for this unveiling. And that you know, I'm honored to have the opportunity to share this with the world first, you know, here at Comic-Con. I grew up in a little town in Canada called Chippewa. Population is about a sixth of the number of people in this room right now. And you know, even though you know, my body was trapped in Chippewa, my mind was roaming the galaxy, thanks to, you know, Bradbury and Clark and Sturgeon and Heinlein and shows like Star Trek, yes, the first 2 seasons, and 2001: A Space Odyssey. These are the things that blew my mind when I was a kid, when I was that 14-year-old boy riding the school bus, reading a book a day, science fiction book a day. So this film really, after a hiatus of doing deep ocean exploration for 7 years, coming back to feature filmmaking, this film is really being made, or has been made, for that 14-year-old boy that's still very alive and well back in the back of my mind. And so I know I share with you that love of fantasy and science fiction and, you know, other worlds, and the idea of living outside our bodies on a great adventure. So I'm not going to waste your time. I know you're here to see stuff. I'm not going to waste your time telling you the story, because I think you're here because you know enough to be intrigued. The clips themselves, you're going to see, I think it's 24 or 25 minutes of stuff. Clips are relatively self-explanatory, and anything beyond that, we don't want you to know until December 18th. We want you to still hold back something for the fun of the voyage. So I just want to close my remarks with 2 questions. And I want a nice, loud answer. I want 6,000 voices so we know we're not alone in the universe. How many of you have ever wanted to go to another planet? Second question, are you ready to go to Pandora? All right, then let's go. Thanks. So are we digging the 3D? And everybody's always asking, where have you been? Well, that's where I've been, on Pandora. I want to bring somebody out right now that's a good friend and working partner with me for a long time. He's the producer of Titanic, and he's the producer of Avatar, John Landau.
Thank you, Jim. They've asked me to sort of try and moderate a little Q&A, but I'm going to start with you. What do you think of this shit?
Well, it's, you know, what I was talking about before, all those science fiction books and comic books and everything and all the movies, it just kind of went into a blender, and this is what came out, you know. But I think that, honestly, I don't think of it all, you know. I propose a creative problem to a group of the world's best artists, design artists, and you know, we sit in some ugly, stuffy little rooms for, in this case, a year and a half, designing you know, every creature, every blade of grass, every plant, tree, hard surface vehicle, everything. And that's one of the big thrills for me on this type of movie, is to get to design all this stuff. and to be a part of that art team, just to be part of a team and to get to work with people that talented. So whatever I imagine, it's 200% of that by the time it gets to the screen.
Well, what has always impressed me just as a fan about your movies is not just the worlds you create, but the characters you put in those worlds. And the characters are only as good as the cast that's there. And we're lucky enough to have some of our cast here with us today. Someone you've worked with before plays Grace Augustine in this film, Miss Sigourney Weaver.
Wow, this is amazing. I'm so thrilled to be here with all of you today, and I just want to start by just thanking you, frankly, for loving movies as much as you do, and for believing in them the way you do, for caring about every single luscious detail, because believe me, this is the movie you've been waiting for. Now, I play Grace Augustine. She runs the Avatar program. She's a botanist. And this is on the distant world of Pandora, which is a world, as you can see, of wonders, of 1,000-foot-tall trees and floating mountains, incredible creatures, some beautiful and some, as you've just seen, incredibly terrifying. Grace loves Pandora with all her heart. She hopes that she can somehow protect its indigenous people, the Na'vi, from the forces of industrial Earth. And to do this, Grace and her team project their consciousness through linked technology into their avatars, which are living, breathing biological bodies which resemble the Na'vi. And in this form, she hopes to gain their trust.
Sigourney, thank you, and we'll start a Q&A panel if you want to take a seat. We're also lucky enough to have with us here today Colonel Miles Quaritch himself, Mr. Stephen Lang. Stephen.
Yeah. Protect the Na'vi. Good luck with that, Doc. Colonel Miles Quaritch, head of security at Hell's Gate. That would be the human compound on Pandora. That would be me. Frankly, I got a problem with Grace Augustine and her cult of tree-hugging scientists. Let me tell you something. The Na'vi are a savage race who are threatening the safety of my people, and they are impeding our mission on this miserable planet. Now, the Na'vi, they are 10 foot tall, they are quick, they are stealthy, they're fast, they're blue as a baboon's butt, and they are lethally dangerous. But their technology is primitive. On the other hand, my people have state-of-the-art weaponry and aircraft. Point is, the situation stinks. It's been coming to a head for a long time, and bottom line, it's not going to end pretty. I'll talk to you later.
Colonel Miles Quaritch, Stephen Lang. And next, to bring out on stage, is our leading lady, both beautiful blue and beautiful in life, Zoe Saldana.
As in the words of the Na'vi when they greet, Mingati kami. That means hello, I see you. And hi everyone, I'm Zoe Saldana. As you just saw in those clips, I played Neytiri, a princess of the Omatikaya clan. My character was, literally it was the most physically demanding role I've ever done, and I trained for months before production started to bring the grace and power to Neytiri that the story needed. I wanted her to be a female action character, at least equal to the others in Jim's movies. Neytiri hates the humans for what they are doing to her world, but she finds herself completely fascinated by Jake, who is not like any other human she's met before. The relationship that develops will change the history of Pandora forever. That's it.
Well, there's one person in our cast we want to hear today who could not be here with us. He's actually working on another film, but he was kind enough to record a message. Sam Worthington.
Hey Comic-Con, my name's Sam Worthington. Sorry I couldn't be there, but as you can see, I'm shooting in a muddy, rainy Wales at the moment, filming. So working on Avatar was a great experience for me. It was unlike anything I've ever done before, and it was a privilege and an honour to work with Jim. I'm sure you've seen that Pandora is a mystical, amazing planet, unlike anything you've ever seen. And not only was it incredible to go to work every day, or maybe not every day, but that this is an incredible movie. And you know, I really hope that you enjoyed your exclusive glimpse of Avatar today. So thank you.
The audience out there. But Sigourney, if I can start with you. It was a while since you worked with Jim before, and you came back to work with him again. Tell us about that a little bit.
The moth went back to the flame. You know, we stayed in touch. I've seen everything Jim has ever done. He's an amazing person, and we just picked up right where we left off. You know, it felt like that was just as normal as could be, only better, because Jim really cares about his actors. He'll always say, what do you want to try? Let's try this, let's try that. Even when there's a huge budget. And he wrote such a wonderful character for me to play in Grace Augustine. I find her so moving in a way. It's a woman who's devoted her life to something that she believes in, and really, in the course of the story, she finds everything she's looking for. So it was really great. And working with Jim is like, it's not like anything else I've ever experienced, because no one cares as much as he does, and it's so inspiring. And again, we really did it all for you, because we know you'll notice every single little thing.
Zoe, when you were up before, you talked a little about the training that went into this. Do you want to elaborate a little bit more on what you had to do to become Neytiri?
Well, I remember there's one thing, you definitely have to take Jim seriously. So whatever it is that you tell him, you know he's going to do. And I remember he asked me my level of tolerance when we first started planning and strategizing on how the training was going to be. And I'm like, sir, you're going to push me until I say stop. He's like, okay. It was literally 7 days a week. I was taking wushu training, archery, that I still now practice, horseback riding, extensive dialect training. I was also lifting some weights with Sam for solidarity, and it endured throughout the shooting, because after he created these two little monsters in Sam and I, and we became so addicted and wanting to come to work that if our call time was 7 a.m., we would be on set at 5:30, because he brought in this trailer gym, and we would just be like pumping iron like a la Schwarzenegger outside the set. And by the time we would get, put our dots on our suits, we were so pumped, and this world it was really alive for us, so we enjoyed every minute of it.
What about the language, though?
Oh my gosh, the language was amazing. It was definitely, it was hard, because I thought I was just gonna, it was like picking up French or something. But the sounds that we were doing were very much like Navi. They were, what do you call them? It was,
like glottal stops?
It was like it was all these sounds that we were making, and then to talk English with a Navi accent was like, all right, can we just rewind here for a second? It was very interesting. It was, and life learning almost.
Well, Jim, you touched on the language, but I think part of this movie is really creating a whole world. Do you want to talk about how you viewed that it's the foundation of a world to make a believability in a movie?
We've done everything from figure out the ecology, the composition of the atmosphere, the geography, all the different species of animals and plants, to the Navi people, their culture, their history, their language. Dr. Paul Fromer, who was the head of linguistics at USC, or was at the time, spent 2 years working on the language and created a little Berlitz course for all the actors and would correct them very sternly, practically with a ruler slap to the wrist if they mispronounced.
Yeah, we also worked with a movement coach, Terry Notary, because it was about dehumanizing ourselves. You know, in the Navi culture, it was simple things as nodding or shaking your head. These were human behavioral patterns that we do, but the Navi had a different way of saying yes or saying no, and even that was required a lot of research and inventiveness, so it made it a lot of fun too.
Now, Stephen, you know, I know you just personally, and you are so different than your character on screen. Tell us sort of how you look at the character of Quaritch. I know we've got a little glimpse of him on screen and here today, but how did you define that character?
Well, when I read the script, I fell for him immediately because most actors love a good villain, and I suppose he would have to be characterized as the villain of the piece. But he brings it. His sense of mission, his sense of discipline, all appealed to me strongly. The preparation seemed clear, and I like to have things clear, so that was very appealing to me as well. But I also say that in the context of this world that Jim wrote, there's just from the outside, as initially as a reader, I found him very moving for what he lacked, for the fact that his soul was in such a state of chaos and decrepitude. And what a sad thing to be in a place that you can characterize as Eden and not be able to understand it, not even to be able to see it. So I don't think that in any way I try to convey that through my performance, but I can tell you it's something that appealed to me strongly, and it's something that I think is very relatable to so many of our own people on planet Earth who've gone through the trials and the anguish of war. And that's where his soul got truncated, which was in all the dirty wars on Earth. So that's where I was kind of coming from.